Oracle Del Rey, also known as Holly Hedro, back to teach you guys how to navigate the world of astrology in a competent way. So this video is a quick breakdown on how to understand astrology basics so that you can navigate how to create your own chart and look up your own chart and understand what you're reading when you're using the free astrology tools online. So there are two sites that I'm using. One is Astrodienst. It's also called astro.com. It's a software out of Germany. To me, it's the most reliable astrology or astrological website out there. And it has so many chart options. I'm going to walk you through how to do it. And then the other tool is called the Neutrino Design Platform. So the Neutrino Design app is like a $7 a month app for all access for human design information, which is based on astrology fundamentally. But when you get the app, they also have a web-based version, which is the platform. So I'll be using that. So the two applications I'm using, they're two distinct ones. One's astro.com, the other one is the Neutrino platform for human design. I'm going to teach you how to navigate all of that and what it kind of looks like, how to make sense of astrology so you can use it to help better yourself by looking at your own charts and stuff like that. So let me just share my screen. Perfect. Okay. So this is astro.com. We'll go back to the home page. This is Astrodienst. It's a lot. Create your own guest. You can use it in the same way to create your birth chart. You click on the side scope, drawings, and data. You open that one, and then extended chart selection. Now I already have my information in here. But if you didn't, you could enter your own information. What you would do, it would just say blank, and then you go to add or edit. So you would go to add. I'm just going to add someone in here just to for an example. I think he's the 14th of June. I forget the year and the time, of course. So to do your birth chart, you need to know birthplace and time and place. So I think, I forget what year. I'm going to look that up really quick. There we go. Fourteenth, 46. That's 10. I missed the time. 10:54. So you fill in the name, gender. If it's like for an event, you want to do like a wedding day or something like that, you would click event. And then that stuff. Just be careful, depending on the country, because astrology is like an international thing. Dates and months can be reversed, so just it depends on the application you're using. You're going to continue, and then this is showing you what kind of chart you're creating, right? So I want a natal chart wheel with all the defaults, right? Show the charts. So we can see he 29 degrees Leo rising, right? You have ascendant. So the ascendant and rising sign are the same thing. Ascendant Donald Trump's. All right. So, and if you click, it'll take you just an image only. But here's mine. I'll do a different one. I like this chart better. Okay. So this creates your astrology chart, and the inner measurements refer to the Earth rotating on its axis, right? And so they just determine where these house lines are drawn to determine the 1st through 12 houses on the wheel. So this is where measures where Earth is rotating on its axis, right? And then this outer circle measurements is where Earth is rotating or orbiting around the sun. Actually be in this direction. So this is how Earth orbits around the sun. And in here, it measures how Earth is rotating on its axis. So the Earth rotation around the axis determines the houses. There are 12 houses. It depends on the time of day you were born and where the planet is in respect to the orbit to the sun. Orbit to the sun is the outer wheel of measurements, and that's also where the signs are. So because the Earth revolves around the sun much faster than the Earth spins on its axis, someone born at 7:27 a.m., let's edit my chart to be 7:27 a.m. so you can see what it looks like. So you see, I'm at 7:27 a.m., I'd be a Scorpio rising, and see where I have this stellium of planets over here in the 6th house and in the 5th house, 6th house, 5th house, and the stellium of planets. Same day, but they're in Sagittarius and Scorpio. Same day, just 12 hours earlier, 7:27 a.m., and all those planets that were right here. So right now, Sagittarius and Scorpio are on this side of the chart. So all that stuff is right here instead of down here, but they're in the same sign. I still have Aries, 28 degrees Scorpio instead of 29. But like these are all generally in the same signs, just in different houses because of where Earth was. But this is not my real chart. So I'm going to edit it back to what it's supposed to be. So that's kind of an overview of like houses and stuff in astrology. So my sun is in 29 degrees Scorpio, but it's in the 6th house, right? And my 6th house starts right here, which is right before Sagittarius. So when your ascendant is in 6 degrees Cancer, it means that your descendant is in 6 degrees Capricorn. Ascendant is based on house, right? So we don't often read house placements to the degree, except when it comes to the ascendant, the descendant, the midhaven, and the Amium Coli. Those are the only ones that get measured down to the degree in terms of houses, because it's only determined by the house, the rotation of the axis and on houses. So these are the only degree points you get for the house system, which thus determine what degrees the houses each start at. So like my 12th house starts at about 28, 29 degrees Taurus, right? And that's determined by the degree placements of these 4 measurements. Determines how the houses are done. And so you can see your sun, 29 degrees Scorpio, 9 minutes, 22 seconds. So there's a 9 minutes. It doesn't show the 22 seconds. Go denudate the table with too much information. This chart over here stands for cardinal, fixed, immutable, which are the dignities of the signs, and then the elements. So fire, air, earth, water. So these are each of the 12 signs represented in this box. So a mutable water sign, only Pisces. Fixed water sign, only Scorpio. And cardinal water sign, always Cancer. So all 12 signs are represented right here. But you can see, this is a little handy chart to see if they're cardinal, fixed, mutable, and the fire, air, earth, water. So the first thing astrology looks at is where the planets are placed with respect to the Earth. This is actually the Earth. So if we can see, this is the sun, and this is how the planets orbit around the sky. We call it the sun because of the tradition. But if we were to look at physically, this represents where the Earth is in terms of the orbit around the sun. So each planet, that's Mercury, Pluto, Mars, Saturn, Venus, Uranus, Neptune, they all have a different orbit around the sun, but it's all condensed onto this one circle. So that's why it's represented. So like Saturn has a 30-year orbit around the sun. So it takes 30 years to go around this wheel. Whereas Earth, represented by the sun in the chart, takes 365 days to go around the wheel. So because the orbit patterns are different per planet, it's shown via how fast they move through each zodiac sign. So the sun will return 29 degrees Scorpio in 1 year, but my Saturn won't return to 20 degrees Sagittarius until 30 years from when it was. And so that's how the different sizes of the orbits around the sun are represented in the chart. It's how slowly they move through the chart in the signs. So I have Neptune at 6 degrees Capricorn, so on and so forth. This is Chiron, it's the asteroid, it's the north node. It's a point where if a full moon or new moon occurs when this north node is here, it will be an eclipse. And there's my little Jupiter up in 20 degrees Aries. So the first thing you kind of look at is the sun, this rising sign or ascendant, and then midhaven that determines how the houses of the inner circle measurement is placed. And then the other side is the orbit around the sun, placed by the planet. So you first want to locate where the planets are with respect to the Earth around the sun. That's the first thing you figured out. And then you figure out what this tells you is what the literal angles the planets are making to each other in the sky. So if we were to instead see the planets, like if we had orbits like Mercury's orbit's the closest to the sun, followed by Venus, then Earth. If we're representing that dynamic through how fast it moves through the zodiac. So if you were to look at where the planets literally were in the sky, these represent the literal angles the planets are making to each other. The constellations might be different from where they were in ancient Greece. That's why we use the tropical system to make it more precise. So Jupiter is making a trine or 120-degree angle here to, or almost 120-degree angle here to my Venus in Sagittarius. So in the sky, they're making a 120-degree angle with each other, with the sun as the point of origin, I think it's called in trigonometry. So they're forming a 120-degree-ish triangle when they're forming a trine, which is represented by a triangle. So Jupiter, what was the trine? Venus trine Jupiter, there we go. So they're making these literal angles in the sky, and it's represented abstractly, but logically on this map. So in these little things, so that's trine, that's conjunction, that little red circle with a thing, and red is typically unfavorable, while blue and green is typically favorable. Oppositions, that's the opposition signal, that's sextile, that's semi-sextile trine. So that's what you're getting out of the chart. You get where the planets were in the sky, and then what sign they're in, and also what angles they're making. And then you can Google, what does it mean to have Mercury in the 5th house, or ask an AI, Mercury in the 5th house, you know, trine the ascendant or trine the midhaven. You know, that's what you look up online. So, you know, my Mercury's in Scorpio in the 5th house, what does that mean? Or you can use applications that will give you that information. For the sake of human design, though, how this translates into human design data is really cool too. So what you have to do is, all it takes, all human design cares about is this. Human design does not look at where the houses are. It only looks at what degree the planets are in, right? So these people created this. I hope I can use it in this. We'll see if this video gets taken down. It's available publicly online. So when my sun is at 29 degrees Scorpio, which is at 14. So what human design does is sun is at 29, 9 minutes, 22 seconds Scorpio, which the range for that is here. So 29 and 9 seconds or whatever. So I'm going to be in the 14th hexagram, 5th line for my sun placement, because it falls in this zodiac range. And so each gate in line refers to a specific range of astrological placements. This is all very advanced level information. You don't need to get and done it yourself with, but now you understand. And so why these are placed in this order is another whole speculative thing I have. But you can kind of see here where Scorpio, Sagittarius, the Capricorns, they all align to these hexagrams. So that's how your human design chart is interpreted. It's not based on houses, just based on, this kind of explains it here. You know, there are really good people who are very obviously trying to do the right things. And no, I did not get written permission, but I am doing Zeno right. I think she's the one that died first. But they actually tried to do right by human design and then Jovian. So since I'm not monetarily benefiting from this, I think I'll be fine. And they were trying to do the right thing. They were trying to do right by human design. They weren't trying to, obviously the stuff's out there, but that's how human design is configured, right? So just these are the planets get translated. Furthermore, it adds another placement, so it adds the Earth. It doesn't traditionally read Chiron, and it also reads the South Node. So it has the sun and the Earth. So if my sun's in 29 degrees Scorpio, my Earth will always be 29 degrees Taurus, right? So technically the Earth is here in the rotation around the orbit of the sun, but because this sign is hiding behind the sun, you get what I'm saying, or it did in ancient times. So technically the Earth would be in the Taurus position when the sun is in Scorpio. So in human design, if you look at a traditional human design chart, that's the symbol for Earth right here, where mine's an 8.5. So it's the complete opposite, right? And so that's the Earth. So you have North Node, South Node, all the way through to Pluto. You can read Chiron. My Chiron's in the 12th hexagram, 12.6 on both Chirons, which means a lot if you are competent with human design. It's a big, big deal placement. Big deal placement, that 12.6 double Chiron line. But anyway, so another thing. So my birth chart, this is only in human design. It's only represented here. It only represents the black. It's called the personality chart. So this is my sun in Scorpio, Earth in Taurus, North Node in Aries, Moon in Sagittarius. This all corresponds to my natal chart. Only this side, which is the personality side, which is the black stuff, one's marked in black, not red, right? And this is personality traits that you are most aware of about yourself, the personality side. The design side is what you subconsciously do, but others notice more about you than you notice about yourself unless you have incredible amounts of self-awareness like I do. So how this chart is determined is you have what's called a design date. I don't know how to find the design. There we go. So my design date was August 24th, 1987 at 3:56 p.m. So your design date is taken 88 degrees when the sun was 88 degrees before you were born. So 88 degrees before my exact birth time was on August 24th, 1987 at 3:56 a.m. or 3:56 p.m. So that birth chart, so everyone has two birth charts. My second birth chart is from August 24th, 87, and that's represented here. And I can even go back to my astrology, and I can even look up what it looks like. So that's what my second birth chart looks like. It has grand trine. If you know astrology, you know I bitch about it a lot. But this is my second birth chart. And it has a few grand trines in it. We got an earth one. Fire is perverting it, of course. But yeah, this is what my second birth chart looks like. So this birth chart creates that. And then my typical birth chart creates that. And then these other measurements up here are determined by specificities here. That is a deeper level class. So the design is in red and it's marked by red. So I don't know if you can do that. So you can kind of click. So 14.5. It does that. You can kind of, these are great apps to use. They're very inexpensive or free. And you can find this kind of stuff. So it gives you information you don't need to know, but this tells you what it all means. And so, I don't believe in nodal detriments. That's a whole theory of mine that I hate. I think I'm in exaltation. This is claiming I have a detriment here, but the nodes aren't actual physical bodies. That's why I question whether or not they can be interpreted through a detriment. Of course, the 58, this one has no exaltation. So it's not marked in detriment, but it doesn't show an exaltation because it doesn't exist. Some apps will do that. But for the nodes, I don't believe in nodal detriment. So I don't think it's being able to heal others and heal yourself is what this actually is about. This is my favorite human design website for these interpretations. When innocence is sapped of its vitality, healing is the first priority. The exaltation, the ability to recognize the inner meaning of an infliction and to withdraw until it is healed. The power of the spirit to heal and be healed. I believe that about myself fundamentally. I do not relate that detriment is the last detriment. It's the only design, and like I do not relate to that detriment, period, at all. And I relate to some of my other detriments, like to fundamentally relate to some of my other detriments. Not that one. Never. I've never sought help from others to heal myself. Ever. Like I would rather figure out if die rabies alone on the streets than go to a doctor. Right. I don't go to the doctor. I don't go to be healed places. Like I'd rather trust myself and my own body to heal it than trust anyone else with healing me. Right. I would never go to someone else to be healed. If I wasn't forced to. Either because like, when I've had like I had a dental student fuck up my tooth so bad I had to get it removed. And it was unmanageable pain that I could not control. So I did seek help once then as well. But once I learned how much smarter I was than people in the medical system, I started trusting myself more than I do doctors. So I hate this detriment marked in my chart because it is diametric to who I've always been in my life. So the next thing is transits. So I just did a transit chart. It's back to astrology. So transit is where the planets are right now in the sky. So this is where the planets were the day I was born. And with the transit added for January 3rd, 2025, universal time, I don't know what it is on Eastern. This is where the planets are right now in the sky. And so what professional astrologers mostly look into is like what this means. So like right now I'm at my nodal return. So the North node is exactly lined up almost precisely. I'm at 0 that. And so it already passed my exact nodal return, but it kind of goes back and forth a little bit, can flow. It takes 18 years for the North node to return. So this is my second nodal return since I was born. So North node is transiting here. We also see Chiron right now is transiting my Jupiter. It's about 1 degree away from where Jupiter is at 20 degrees Aries. So transit charts, you just read, sun's entering my 7th house. So the sun being in your 7th house will mean something for you. Sun or Mercury conjunct this will mean something. So all the language we use to describe the chart itself, like Jupiter opposite Mars. Right now, my Chiron is also opposite Mars too, since it's conjunct Jupiter. So you kind of read transits with the same language as you do other charts, but they mean different things. The transits, the green on the outside is where the planets are right now in the sky. And that can be interpreted separate from the natal chart itself. And with human design, when you do transits, it looks something like this. So this is a transit human design chart. This is what my chart looks like when nobody or nothing else is activating these centers in my aura. This is what the planets are looking for right now. So right now, here's where I am at. This right here, the 360 has been my living nightmare for the past 4 years. And I'm finally out of the detriment. Yes, we're out of the detriment. Oh my God, I didn't realize we're out of the detriment yet. I had it in detriment on gate 60, line 5, and this connection has been my biggest astrological pain in the ass is this root connection, because the root sacral is not something I need. I'm trying to rescind that from, I'm trying to get rid of it. I'm trying to eradicate the root sacral. We do not need the root sacral anymore, in my opinion. Or I'm sorry, we don't need the root chakra. Sacral we need. Root chakra is the most useless chakra. Plus it has the only detriment one in there. I am pro getting rid of the root chakra if we can do stuff like that. But so on a transit, so my personality design, my two birth charts are now all bound together over here, right? So there's my sun. This personality sun is 14.5. My design sun is 59.2. There. So transits right here, here's the transits. Sun is in 38.4. That corresponds to the sun being in this place in Capricorn, 13 degrees Capricorn. Translates into being in hexagram 38, line 4. Now, this is a good transit. I can give lots of examples. Exaltations and detriments. Like this one I relate to a lot as a detriment. But that can be interpreted in a lot of different ways. I relate to that detriment a lot. No, that's not the one. There is a, I don't relate to that detriment. That's another one I don't relate to at all, my Saturn detriment. But there are some detriments aren't necessarily bad, but there are some detriments I definitely relate to more than others. I'm definitely not the 25.5. But anyway, I'm digressing. So your birth chart gets on this side, right, in the transits. So the planets where they're on the sky right now are displayed over here. Now you'll notice this little green arrow, and then you'll notice this little gold arrow. The green arrow means my chart is interacting with the planets in such a way to cause the detriment. So if we look at the sun placement, Pluto. So Pluto will cause it to go into exaltation. For this one, Mars causes gate 11 to go into detriment. So one planet for one line and gate will cause it to go either into detriment or exaltation. Otherwise, both of the lines are available to you. So this one, Mercury, it's in detriment. Well, Mars puts it into detriment. That's weird. Well, 11.1. I wonder if Mars is in gate 56. Oh, wait, it is. So it's making a connection to that. So gate 56, Mars in gate 56 here is tied to Mercury in gate 11 here. So even though gate 11, Mercury doesn't naturally put it in detriment, Mars does, because gate 11 is attached to 56, which is current via a Mars connection, is putting it into detriment. So right now, gate 11, line 1 is in detriment because it's also connecting to Mars in gate 56. As soon as Mars leaves gate 56.6, it will no longer be in detriment. But Mercury is a very fast moving planet. So by the time that happens, it'll probably already be out of this line. So they're not like big deals or anything to be scared of, but they're just like make you aware of like what to expect. And so exaltations and detriments that are marked in the dark blue color come from my chart. So 38. Where are we at? Here we go. So I have gate 28 activated by my design Pluto, gate 28 here. And so it's connecting, forming a channel to gate 38 activated by the sun. So only people who have their Pluto on gate 28, doesn't matter the line, as long as I'm gate 28, they will put the sun right now in exaltation because they have the Pluto marking. And Pluto's more of a slow moving planet, so more people will have this going on for them than not. But if you have your Pluto in 28 to get the exaltation of gate 34, line 4. So me and everyone else with Pluto in this gate will have it in exaltation. That's what the blue means. It means it's being fixed by your chart. Your chart is causing that to happen. When it's just in yellow, and the arrow is not blue, but it's yellow, it means that planets themselves are aligning to cause that fixation, whether the planet is naturally fixed in that line or it is connected currently, forming a channel with a planet that is. So 36, Jupiter puts it into exaltation. So it must be connected to Jupiter via gate 35, which it is 35, 36. So because Jupiter is connected to gate 36, it puts this into exaltation. When Jupiter, this will leave before Jupiter will leave, or maybe not, but if Jupiter were to leave gate, where is it, 35, it would go back to where both are available instead of being an exaltation or a detriment, or both more easily available. Now you can look back on your own chart too and see that, like, when you get a gold arrow, this means something in the transits is causing my Uranus to go into detriment. So sometimes it doesn't affect you. For example, I am not scared of being anonymous. I don't care who understands or values my ideas. I just want to reunite with people that I love and get, peace of mind in my life. But I'm not afraid of anonymity. I'm not afraid that if people understand me or not. That is not a fear of mine. So these are more like suggestions and actual, like, you're not cursed to be in this detriment line if the planets are making it that way. It's all about who you are and how far along you are, how strong it will affect you. The more you're developed as your own person, individuated self with your own authentic identity and like stuff like that, the less these transits will affect you in like the negative ways. But the more you're tuned in to what we call in the human design, the Maya, the more you're tuned in and caring about social constructs and the social contract and stuff like that, the more these will affect you. The rest is just more like there's other ways to look at it, or it may be how other people interact with you. It can be different. But that is basically how you do this. And you can see what it looks like, but that's just kind of a general overview of how to look at a human design chart in a competent way. So there we go, stop share. So yeah, I want to keep these kind of short. I'm very scattered with how I teach, but hopefully this helps explain it and helps you navigate your chart a little better. Thank you so much.